Very good. We're going to find a sugar maple tree, and we're going to learn about how maple syrup was made. The first thing we need to do is learn about how trees grow. Now, what I'm going to do today, I said we're learning about maple syrup, right?
Yeah.
You've had maple syrup, right? That stuff that we pour on our pancakes and waffles, that wonderful, yummy, sweet stuff.
What about French toast?
And French toast. Thank you very much. We are going to be learning about maple syrup. Maple syrup comes from a very special type of tree. Now, when I say sugar maple tree, I want you to do your impression of a tree. And the way that we make sure that we're a sugar maple tree is we have to start with our roots or our feet. So if I say sugar maple tree, I want you to plant your roots in the ground. 1, 2. Sugar maple tree. Now stick your roots in the ground. Now your feet are glued to the ground. Do trees walk around the forest? No, that's silly. Trees stay perfectly still. So we're going to keep our feet still. And right now, our roots or our feet, they're drinking water from the ground. That's what our trees do. They drink water with their roots. Can you drink water? You got to wiggle your toes. You're drinking water from the ground. Now, a good sugar maple tree, you're tall and straight. Let me see, tall and straight. Really tall and straight. Now, trees gotta have branches. Let me see your branches. Be careful of the trees next to you. Some trees grow like this. Let me see your branches like this. Maybe a pine tree. Some trees grow with their branches straight out. Let me see that. Some tree, can you do that? That's the Egyptian tree. And then our sugar maple tree, that was a joke. Up here, really high in the air. Sugar maple trees, their branches reach high towards the sky. Now, right now, do you know what season we're in?
Winter.
Winter. It's a very special season. And in winter, certain things happen to our trees. Right now, remember, our trees are drinking water. Drink your water. What happens to water when it gets really, really cold? It freezes. It turns to ice. So everyone, let me see your branches. Right now, you're drinking water from the ground and freeze. And during the day, the sun comes out and it makes us warm, thaw. But at night, it gets really cold, freeze. And during the day, thaw. Warm during the day and cold at night, freeze. Thaw. Freeze. Freeze. Sometimes it doesn't get warm during the day. Sometimes it stays cold. When it gets really cold at night, freezing, and when it thaws during the day, something very special happens to that water that flows through our tree. We've learned that when we drill a hole in the tree, something called sap will come out. Can I hear you all say sap?
Sap.
S-A-P. Sap is the water that flows through our tree. We're going to walk into a forest that has lots of sugar maple trees. Those are the trees we need to make maple syrup. When we walk into a forest with lots of sugar maple trees, we call it a sugar bush. Are you ready to help me find a sugar maple tree?
Yeah.
I'm going to ask that I lead the way and that you all follow behind me. And today, helping me is Charlie. Everyone say hi to Charlie back there.
Hi, Charlie.
Are you guys ready?
Yeah.
All right, let's go into the sugar bush. Hi, sugar maple trees. And freeze. Thaw. Freeze. Thaw. Very good. Good job, everyone. Our sugar maple trees are freezing and thawing, and that's how our sap is flowing through our tree. Right now, we got to find something special for our tree. Sugar maple trees, roots in the ground. Roots in the ground, roots in the ground, stand perfectly still. When we look for a tree, we look for the leaves. Can anyone see leaves on our trees?
No.
No, there's no leaves, but sometimes we can look for the bark. Some trees have very special bark. There's a tree that has bark that looks like potato chips. Some trees have bark that's very smooth, and other trees have bark that has ridges. Some people say looks like the back of an alligator or a crocodile. Do you think this looks a little bit like an alligator or crocodile skin?
Yeah.
A little bit. This tree right here is a sugar maple tree. Would you all like to hear a story?
Yeah.
All right, let me see my sugar maple trees. Plant your feet in the ground for me. Feet's planted in the ground. I've got to keep them really still for this story. Hundreds of years ago, Native Americans used to live right here in the forest. There were people that lived here in our forest along the river. And when they lived here in the forest, everyone in their tribe had a very special job. The dads, the men in the tribe, their job was to go out through the forest and hunt. They would use a bow and arrow to hunt deer or to hunt rabbits or squirrels. the women in the tribe, their job was to go out and collect food. They might collect food from the forest, maybe like berries or maybe food from the garden. And the children, all of the children, had a very special job. Do you want to know what your job would have been in your tribe?
Yes.
Your job would have been to travel around and carry a basket just like this. And you would use this basket to collect water. You would go all the way down to the river and collect water in your basket. But what happens to the water at the river when it gets cold? Remember, it turns the ice, it freezes. So you would bring a tool with you. You would bring your hatchet. Why would you bring your hatchet down to the river? To break the ice. So you would go down to the river every day. You would break the ice with your hatchet and you would collect water in your basket. And you would bring the water back to your family so they could cook their dinner. Well, one day a little Native American boy or little Native American girl decided they were pretty tired and they wanted to take a nap on their way to collect water. So you know what they did? They found a nice big tree to lay against. They put their basket on the ground and they were going to take a nap. But I didn't want to lose my hatchet. I didn't want to put it on the ground where maybe I'll forget where it is. Where should I put it? Kids love to stick things in the trees. So they stuck their hatchet in the tree, and then they got down against the tree, leaned back, closed their eyes, and they started to take a nap. And you know what they were doing while they were napping? They were dreaming. They were dreaming that they were down at the river, playing in a waterfall. And their face was wet, and they were splashing, and their hair was wet. And all of a sudden, they woke up, eyes open. And they realized they weren't down at the river, but they still had water running down their face. Where was that water coming from?
The tree.
You're right, the water was coming from the tree. When they stood up and they looked, water was coming right out of the tree, right down the hatchet, and dripping on their head. And they learned that when they put a hatchet in a tree, when they cut the tree, water would actually come out. Well, if I have to go down to the river and collect my water, and that's a really long walk, or I can collect my water from the tree, where am I going to collect my water? From the tree. They learned that they could put their basket at the bottom of the tree and collect the water or the sap from the tree. And that night, when they took their water home to their parents to cook dinner, that was the sweetest dinner they ever had. Because when they cooked their rabbit stew or their possum surprise, they cooked that water, that sap from the tree, and their dinner became very sweet. It tasted really, really good. Because when you eat the water from a sugar maple tree, it becomes just like syrup. The Native Americans learned that they could use the syrup or sugar from this tree, and they could use that to flavor their foods and even trade so they could get tools from other tribes. Do you think that tree was pretty important to them? They could collect water from the tree and they could use that syrup to sweeten their dinner. Well, so far we found a sugar maple tree. We've learned that we need to get sap from the tree. Now, let's go find a tree that we can collect our sap from. Are you ready for that?
Yeah.
Okay. Grab this. All right, and freeze. During the day when the sun hits you, thaw. Freeze. Thaw. Freeze. Nice job, everyone. The Native Americans learned that they could, remember, keep your roots planted in the ground for me. The Native Americans learned that they could collect the water from the tree with their baskets. Well, pretty soon pioneers or settlers came along and they learned from the Native Americans how they could collect sap from a sugar maple tree. And they learned that they could use tools like a drill and like a basket to hang on the tree and collect their sap. Well, when I'm going to collect the sap from a tree, instead of using a hatchet like the Native Americans, what I'm going to use is a drill. Because I only want to drill a small little hole. Remember, maple syrup has been around for hundreds of years. And even though our tools have changed, the process remains the same. We have to find a sugar maple tree, we've got to collect the sap or the water from the tree, and then we've got to heat that sap until it becomes syrup. What we're looking at now is a drill, a brace and a bit. And this drill is how we're going to drill a hole into our tree and how we're going to collect our sap. But we have to decide where are we going to drill our hole. Should I hang my bucket really high? No, I might spill all the sap on my head. Should I put my bucket on the ground where the animals can drink out of it?
Yeah.
You want the animals to drink our sap?
No.
Where should I put my bucket? Right in the middle. We're going to find a nice good spot in the middle. Now we want to make sure that we've got a good tall tree. Is this a good tall tree?
Yeah.
Are its branches reaching up in the air?
Yeah.
Does it have alligator type of skin or bark?
No.
It does. It does. So I'm going to find a nice spot right in the middle with my drill. And I'm going to look. What do you think? Does that look like a nice spot? I'm going to move around so you all can see, but I'm going to hold my drill against the tree and I'm going to drill a hole. And we're going to see what happens. Now some of you are going to see, you see the little pieces of wood coming out? You can stand over here. You see this wood coming out? Because I'm using the drill to drill the bark or the wood of the tree. I'm only going to drill in about 2 or 3 inches. I don't need to go very far, but I'm going to drill into the tree. And once I've drilled in far enough, I'm going to take my drill out and we will hang our bucket. So I've drilled a little bit. I'm going to take my drill out and now I've got a special tool. Let me hear you say spile.
Spile.
A spile is like a faucet or a spout. And this is what I'm going to put in the tree, and hopefully the sap will come out of our spile. Now remember, to collect our sap, it needs to be warm during the day and cold at night. Does it feel warm or cold to you right now? It feels pretty cold, so we may not collect sap today, but a little bit later this afternoon when the sun has been out for a while, we might be lucky enough to see sap come out of our tree. But there's only one way to find out. We're going to put the spile in our tree and we'll see. It's dripping. It is. Let's see. You ready? I'm going to put my spile here right in the tree, in the hole of the tree. I've got a special tool and a special hammer. I'm going to put these into the tree like this. And now I will have a spot. I guess it's warm enough today. Now remember, what we have coming out of our tree is the water that the tree has been drinking. Drink your water from the ground. The tree's drinking water from the ground that flows through the tree, and when we drill a hole into our tree, the sap comes out. Now remember, our sap, it's not syrup yet because we have to heat it before it becomes syrup. So if you want, we let our groups come by and we let the sap drip on their finger and you can taste it. Do you think we'd like to do that today?
Yeah.
We're going to line up in a line. We're going to start here. We'll try that dripping, and then what we're going to do is we're going to walk back to the sugar shack and we're going to learn about how that sap becomes syrup. Are you all ready?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to have you try this. You can come on up, and just let it drip.